Hi everyone, Steel Horse here, and welcome to Griffin, Indiana. As you can see, we've just arrived, and this is the first episode in a new Let's Play. And in this one, I think we'll approach it very much the way I like to play. Being a relative newcomer to Farm Sim 22, I didn't play this in a past life, so I'm brand new to Griffin, Indiana. And when I get a new map, kind of the way I like to approach it is have some concept of an objective or challenge that I want to meet, and then to set about exploring the map and seeing what fits. And I kind of like to give my farmer a little bit of personality without being a role play. So that's kind of the mode that I've got here. And so as we kind of kick on in, I'll introduce you to the character that is our main farmer, and we can get to know him a little bit together as we drive up to the farm. I've chosen to start in farm manager mode, and so as a scenario, we have had $1.5 million. Precision farming is on, and with the 1.5 million that we were given, this is the PDA, and the new farmer map is up the top here, and I decided that I actually quite liked the look of that location, and I wasn't really going for a start from scratch setting, as you'll kind of see in a minute. So we've purchased the main farmyard, which cost us $691,000. We purchased what's essentially a grass field immediately alongside, which was another $460,000. And we've purchased this field here, which seems to have a pretty good potential yield, and it's quite a good size. So at around about 13.5 acres. So we'll see what that has entailed, and that was another 331. So all up, that came to just under our 1.5 million. So completely cleared us off with cash. And that meant that we needed a little bit more to get some equipment to start. That might be a good point to sort of introduce our main character and talk about how we got, or how we've gotten this Let's Play up and running. So here we are at the main gate. Our character's just arrived in town with all his belongings and his vehicle. Now, the background here is that he's a mediocre banker from Minneapolis. His kids are off at college. His wife runs a little business that she can work from home or pretty much anywhere as a graphic designer. And being a man of kind of big dreams but average outcomes, he's always dreamed of having a bit more control. And whilst banking was kind of a nice lifestyle, and he spent quite a lot of time with farmers arranging finance in sort of Iowa and the surrounding area to Minneapolis, but he kind of has this view that he'd do better if he was his own boss. So that's the plan. Now, with that in mind, they've sold up everything. All the belongings they need are in the U-Haul here. He was hunting around for a while and bought a farm just on the outskirts here of Griffin. Did most of the transaction over the internet. So he's only been here briefly a couple of times. The farm's got potential, but a little bit neglected. So he's really not entirely sure what he's in for. And in terms of getting organised with some equipment, because he kind of, whilst he thought he got a really good bargain, he felt it really sort of cleaned out their savings. So he's taken a bit of a mortgage, $300,000 against the farm, and purchased, and gotten to know the local dealer and organised some bits and pieces to sort of start out in terms of equipment. Now, not really having a lot of clues, a bit at the mercy of the local dealer. So we'll sort of see where that's led when he arrives. No, it's not terribly dramatic. It's just a bit of a mix of things. But as you can see, the old M Series X5 is not really the world's most appropriate farming vehicle, and it's got a few hours on it. So I'm not sure how long it'll remain part of the storyline. Here in Griffin, you might say, why Griffin? Well, both sets of parents are alive, and they're in nearby Nashville and Louisville. Well, sort of near, but not too near. Those of you with in-laws will know what I mean. So here we are at the farm. As we drive in, we've got some barns. I can see what looks like a Kubota front loader, perhaps over there. I see some greens, so it's not surprising to find some John Deere around, and the dealer did seem very keen on his John Deere equipment. But here's the house. So if we jump on out and have a bit of a look around here. So nothing in that shed. In this shed over here, we have a John Deere 560 by the looks. Yeah, 560 with a corn header and a crop header at the back. 6250, that looks very nice. A truck hiding here in the background. He said that I'd bought a truck. That will be quite useful, I guess. And then over here is the Kubota. So we've certainly got plenty of grass. As I understand it, out this way. So this is kind of the main block of the farm. This is a big meadow out here. And then this field is the one we bought, and it looks like we have a crop on it. So the corn's kind of well advanced there. Corn to be harvested. Planning. So we've got another couple of months. So October, November, we should expect to harvest that. So the first challenge is we've leased equipment in August, but we've got a couple more months to pay for it before we can use it. Not only that, we only really needed a corn header, but we've got a regular header as well. So I don't know whether we're going to have any opportunity to put that to good use, but that's, I guess, how it goes. As you can see, there's kind of two, well, it's a pretty normal crop calendar, so nothing too outrageous there. Let's head back to the house here. Oh, actually, before we do that, what does it tell us? We have a look at the field here. So we're growing. We don't know anything about the field. So that's interesting. Didn't look to be weeds, which is a good start. We've got some pieces for the front loader by the looks. But if we have a look at our precision farming map, I think given that we've got a crop in it, maybe we need to... I can't get any information about the field itself without doing the soil test. So I think we need the soil tested. And luckily that comes back with instant results, but the instant results, well, let's have a look. So it's a bit of a mix of some good soil, some poorer soil and some middle of the road soil. So that's okay. I guess that goes to explain why it shows a slightly above normal yield. The pH doesn't look to be too bad. So it was probably limed in places. But the fertilization is poor. So if we come across here, and we're middle of our sort of growth season. So I'm thinking that the first order of business having arrived is we need to get some fertilizer in that field. Now, the dealer didn't mention anything about that. So perhaps there's nothing hiding in here. I think what we might do is grab the tractor here and head down to the shop and potentially pick up something to spread some fertilizer and some fertilizer itself. Really sure how much we need, but let's go and sort of see what the requirements are. Very large with these big wheels on it. Yeah, it's quite nice seeing these grass fields. I know our main man here's got, he grew up in the 80s and 90s, and so kind of I think he sees himself as a bit of a Texas rancher, not ranger, a Texas rancher, and I think he's got visions of rearing beef. So these undulating plains might do quite well for that. We might see whether he's going to channel a bit of Dallas, sort of more on the ranchering side than the oil side, but that remains to be seen as we head down here to the shop. There's plenty of fields around the town. Now I think the shop is, we kind of passed it on the way in. Let's see here. Is it down this way? Oh, crash counter. Those double wheels get away from you. City Hall there on the right hand side. That's where the purchase paperwork was all lodged. Rather a long train on this map, so we'll keep our eyes peeled for that one. And here's the dealership in here. Right. Clever Motors. So we'll pop over there and see if we can organise something to put some fertilizer on our field. Now, what? Fertilizer spreaders. It's quite a large field. It is a Kubota one. But I'm not sure how much we need. 55. The spread is 12 to 18, whereas the spread here is 42. So that feels like it's a bit quicker. So I'm inclined, well encouraged by the dealer, no doubt. So let's what are our wheel choices? Well, the crop's established, and I'm pretty sure we need narrow tyres in an established crop, so we might go with that one. But beyond that, no reason to take any other choices. So let's add that to our list of things. Now, I know we can get fertilizer here, but I'm also wondering if there's somewhere in town that sells it in bulk. Let's have a look on the supplies list. Solid fertilizer. The utility department sells it, ooh, pretty expensively. 2,000 for 1,000 litres. Does that fluctuate? No. So that would be an expensive way. Oh, it's not too expensive, but the advantage is we don't have to handle it. I think we can put it straight in because the regular... Whoops. What am I doing? Let's go to the correct screen. 1820. So it's a little bit dearer, but we don't have to handle it. So I'm inclined, being new in town, let's pop over to the utility department And let's get some fertilizer. According to directions inside, it's just on the other side of one here somewhere. There we go. I think if I understood his directions, it was just down here. It looks like a dairy there on the left-hand side. Yeah, here we go, the utility department. And what can this is? Looks like a fill station. Let's see what choices we've got. What can we buy here? Anything? We can. I guess if I want him to stop, I have to tell him. So, there we go. Just over 2,000 a litre. But done very quickly and easily, so, and maybe that's enough fertilizer to keep us going for a while too. So it's not really, oops, that's not going to turn that corner. While we're here, this looks like biogas facility. There's a crusher. There's a spot to load the train. So all in all, pretty useful little area. Right, well, let's head on back up to the field. So here we are at the field. Let's have a look at the shape. It's pretty much square, and apparently we can do a pretty wide spread here. Now, I'm told that I have sensors on the tractor, so Alt B should turn those on, and our work width is fine. I don't think we're going to damage the crop. No, that looks all right. So that's kind of our best guess. So let's turn that on and see what it does. Oh, we're leaving a bit of a strip at the side, so we'll move over a fraction. But so far, that seems to be reasonably good. I'm liking that. It's working quite well. There's probably 3 or 4 passes required. But that's not too bad at all. So we go up here, similar sort of distance, back in the field. If you're wondering why our newly arrived banker isn't using the GPS that appears to be fitted to the tractor, I'm not sure that he's had any lessons. It didn't sort of feel appropriate to the storyline to immediately arrive and leap into the tech, even though the local dealers sold it. So we might save that for another day. But that bit's kind of worked. Here we go up here again to around about here. It's a good sized field. Pleasant surprise that there is a fairly well cared for crop in it. Just needed the fertilizer. And at the rate we're spreading here, we certainly should have enough. Two more trips by the looks. A sea of corn. Don't make it a field of dreams. Seem to recall plenty. Resisting the urge to create crop circles. But there we go. And we'll get two more passes, I think. Might have to go a bit narrower on the last one and then just take care of those couple of little misses. Looks like a road across the back there. And some interesting little forestry areas here to work around. One of the things that I quite liked about the map was that these plots, if I just have a quick look here, there's some more grassland, so they're kind of, you know, reasonably flattish, but then these little areas of forest are all varying prices. There you go, 200,000, 190, 250, 300, 150. And so I'm wondering what our ability to use them as grazing land is, you know, rather than as we expand the farm, can we thin out some of the trees, but put open pastures in there for grazing land to supplement the arable fields. And that should be about the right width, I think. It's looking like we got pretty much all the fertilization we needed on here in the one pass, which is a pleasant surprise. It does mean we'll be left with quite a bit of fertilizer, but I don't think that's a big deal. I'm sure there will be other uses for it. And there we go. So that's that. There's a bit of an edge on that field there. Let's head back down here. Need to skirt the edge to find out where it's there. And then here. It doesn't seem to want to... turning it on would make it work better, wouldn't it? There we go. Just finish this area by the edge. Leave it on the reduced spread width. Whoops, turn the other way. Champion. I think it's appropriate. There's a couple of little dots given our first day farmer. So there we go. In terms of settings and things, I've gone for a single day month for the moment until the farm increases in size a bit. I think we'll get all of our main jobs done for the first few episodes at least within a day, and we'll run those days at 5 times speed in order to, just sort of make sure we finish things in daylight. But if we get to an episode length of sort of 30 to 40 minutes, which is about where we are now, and we'll sort of call it done for the day. I might do a couple of simple things off camera to make sure we can keep up but progress. So with that in mind, the other settings I wanted to talk about. So you can see we've got 140,000. It's coming up to the middle of the day. We don't need that. We can turn the tractor off for now. In our key settings, just so you know how we're playing, our zone markers are off, field info is on. I'm in miles and acres, but I will probably forget and talk about Celsius and metric readings on occasions. On economic difficulty is normal, so we started on farm manager mode. I've got seasonal growth on 1 day months. Snow is on. Even though he was trying to escape the Minneapolis winters, it still will get cold. I've turned stones off in the field just because I find them annoying. It's kind of a job you do once, but I've left weeds on. I think they're important. They grow just like our crops. The trailer fill limit should be on. Fuel usage is normal. We won't let workers refuel anything. And I do have the paint and maintenance mod that allows me to drop the maintenance costs down a little bit. So down at 25% off the reduced rate and cost. And I think that gets us more in the affordable sort of range. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me that tractors and equipment get ridiculous to operate and manage at, sort of 40 to 60 hours. In terms of our equipment, it is... Where are we here? It's a mix, so you can see that I've bought the mower principally because it's an old unit and it seemed to make sense for the scenario that we would have to buy it rather than lease it. I couldn't imagine a finance company providing finance for such an old piece of equipment. And there is 73 hours on it, so it represents sort of second hand. I've allowed for the cutter to be as new. Similarly, the truck is in need of a bit of maintenance and it has a few hours on it, but we also purchased that. The rest of our equipment, as you can see there, is leased, except for the tools where I think it was reasonable that the dealer wasn't prepared to lease those. We needed to buy them. So that's kind of the state of play here. The John Deere pickup and the AGCO are weights. So one for the Kubota and one for the John Deere tractor. Leasing costs here, if you've always wondered what they show, they're not a strict representation of the monthly costs. So they're actually what the sum of the daily cost and the hourly work cost. So you'll pay some of that when it flicks over the day and then the remainder of it when it flicks over an hour's use. So it's not ideal, but it does give you a rough representation of your costs. And as you can see, the harvest is the most expensive, followed by the large tractor and the Kubota, and then the rest is not terribly meaningful. But any way you look at it, we've got several month coverage in our budget. So with that in mind, I think that's where we'll leave it. I'm inclined potentially to get the John Deere here out, and certainly if it was my wife moving into a new place, it would be high on the order of jobs for me to do, to mow the lawn around the house. And so this looks like a perfect way to finish the episode. We'll do a little bit of grass work and position ourselves for the next time you see me. So here we are, doing some mowing around the house and tidying things up generally on our new farm here in Griffin, Indiana. So thank you all for joining me. It's really great to have you along, and I'm quite excited about the prospects for this series and where they might take us. Keep coming back and you'll find out. Thanks for joining me. See ya.